Hello, and welcome to part 2 of Instructions for Conscious Awakening, How to Wake Up and Wake Up Others. I know it's been a year since about part 1, but I want these videos to be more thought out rather than, just kind of blabbing on mindlessly every other day. I don't feel like I have the time, energy, or mental capacity to do that, at least not yet. Over this past year, I have had one miscarriage and one baby boy. As far as the miscarriage goes, I've come to accept that just like in nature, not every acorn is meant to be an oak tree. And through my experience, I discovered others who have had the same experience, and I've felt a great sense of compassion and healing, both being able to give and receive that kind of healing energy, which I think is essential, regardless what your religious beliefs are. This is something that we all experience some kind of loss, particularly now. And through these experiences, we're able to feel compassion for others and help others. And, it makes it easier in the sense to know that you're not alone. I think even though it's a loss or seeming loss, there's always some good that can come from it. Anyway, I don't want to go there. So as far as the baby that I had, it was a boy, and being raised Jewish, I was expected to circumcise him, and I have decided to break free from that barbaric tradition, and I chose not to. Now, mind you, my decision was simply to protect my innocent, perfect newborn child from being mutilated based on a ritual that I feel is outdated and no longer necessary, unless, of course, it's medically necessary, which in this case it wasn't. And when you step up and challenge tradition and stand your ground, it could be a very lonely place. But I did it, and my child is still intact, and amidst all of the anger and animosity and threats to remove support or love or whatever else, excommunication, I stood my ground, and I was not afraid, because I was thinking about my baby and not about myself. Anyway, so I just want to encourage you who feel you need to challenge your traditions and stand your ground as far as what you believe in. I just want to offer support, and also to stay grounded in love and your purpose, and not to be swayed by others' arguments when you know what you feel is right for you and for your family. Which leads me to this next topic in our Instructions for Conscious Awakening Part 2. And I made just a tiny little bit of notes here so I can touch on what I wanted to touch on. This topic is on religion as spiritual slavery, which I feel is the harshest and most difficult type of slavery to free yourself from. I can't read my handwriting now. We're talking about the religious mindset. The religious mindset is the chains that hold us in this spiritual slavery. this mindset is also present within the atheist mindset. So just for the sake of this particular video, I'm going to include atheism as a religion, although you can debate me on whether it's religion or not. In this situation, it is. And I will give examples as to why. So in all religions, we have God, or a godlike being, which is generally a male god, unless you're pagan, and it's goddess. We can also call it Big Brother, which it's kind of like a big brother, who that all-seeing eye that sees every move we make, documents every detail of our lives, and is just itching to send us to hell for the slightest little imperfection. Jesus is another example of a deity that lives outside of ourselves, and who some might argue is no longer alive. So we are, one can argue that, I mean, here we are who go to church, kneeling to Jesus, who's being nailed to the cross, who's basically, we are bowing and prostrating at a man being tortured to death. I'm sorry, but that's what it is. He's being tortured to death, and we are worshiping his last moments before he breathes his last. And frankly, I find that to be rather terrifying. Not to say that his lessons and his teachings are not valid, but I feel that his message has definitely been skewed over these past 2,000 years. And I really don't think that this is what Jesus truly intended for any of us, even if we're not Christian. And then, of course, as far as the atheist deity mindset, we have science, which we have no control over. Not to say that science isn't valid, but I find that science and God are, in essence, two sides of the same coin. Now, we also have our holy books, like the Holy Bible, that we adhere to, or the God Delusion that atheists might adhere to, or books such as Conversations with God, which I find is a really great book because it encourages us to question and to continue questioning. And also within that, there's the idea that there's a God that's within all of us that is one, and also an individual God that lives within each and every one of us. If you've ever read Conversations with God, it's a really great book. And if you haven't read it, then you can always write your own. Apparently, Neil Donald Walsh, who wrote Conversations with God, started off writing a really angry letter and started getting these answers. So, I mean, if you want to question God, write it down and see what comes to you, and just write and share them on YouTube. I'd love to hear what comes out of you. Anywho, I wanted to draw a parallel between how God in essence has basically been chopped up into many different pieces and stuffed into these boxes and labeled religion, whether it's Christianity or Judaism or Sikhism or whatever. And I think it's important for us to just kind of think outside the box. And in order to do that, we have to just kind of leave all of these beliefs at home. I feel that religion provides us with the tools to know what God is about, but unfortunately, because of religious leaders and our need for greed and money and power, that those lessons have been skewed and manipulated. Rather than to free us, it's enslaved us, which is why I really feel we need to break free from this mindset. I do believe that God exists, but I don't believe in religion, at least not anymore, because the tools that it's provided, rather than having us all gather and share our tools to build a house, we've just been comparing tools and beating each other over the head with it. It's like, you need to believe in what I believe, or you're going to go to hell, or I'm going to kill you for it. It's ridiculous. And it's very counterproductive. To me, God is like oxygen. Without it, we can't live. Oxygen, I have total faith that oxygen exists. I've read about it in the science books. I've seen sketches of it. I know that it's there on the periodic table of elements. However, I have never experienced oxygen in my five-sense reality. I've never seen it. I've never heard it, touched it, tasted, or smelled it. But I do believe that without it, I would not be able to live. Such is the same with God. We can look in any holy book that has the name of the one true God or the one and only God. And in essence, it's the sound of our breath. Brahma, Allah, Yeshua. And if you were to pronounce the Hebrew letters, it is the sound of an inhale and an exhale. It's the sound of the breath. It's the word that's forbidden to speak. Not that it's forbidden, it's just impossible to speak because it's not really a word. So if you really want to know God, just breathe. You want to feel the love of God in the midst of tragedy, in the midst of loss. Just take a deep breath and feel right in here is where you feel your breath, right in your heart center, right in your lungs. And no matter how bad you're feeling, it feels really good to breathe. And one might ask, where's God in all of this? Why isn't God doing anything about it? Don't ask those questions. Ask, what can you do about it? What can I do? And through that act of love and through that act of compassion, you will come to know the God within yourself and also within others. It's important for us to reconnect with each other. And when we reconnect with each other, that's where God is. And it's not going to be a vengeful God or a jealous God. It's going to be a loving and compassionate God. Because I feel that is the truth of what God is. God is love. God is life. God is compassion, and God is within all of us. And I'm finding it absolutely fascinating to see all the illusions falling away, all the lies being exposed. And it's kind of like ripping off a Band-Aid. You know, it hurts, but it only hurts for a second. I believe in a past video I described it as a Brazilian bikini wax, where, you know, you got all the yuckiness and annoying hairs there, and then, like, all it takes is just one zip and just a few seconds of excruciating pain. But everything, you know, after that, everything is just clear and smooth and beautiful and soft. So, yeah, there's me seeing God in everything, even a bikini wax. So I just want to say I hope you're all well, and I hope for those of you affected by the hurricane that you find a sense of groundedness and a sense of peace, and soon. I am here to help if I can. I hope what I've said helps, and I would love to hear any questions or comments or concerns. Feel free to video respond. Feel free to ask me questions in the comment section, and perhaps you may inspire me to make another video. All right, maybe you guys can help me out with part 3. Alrighty, so that's it for now, and I hope you're all well, and I'll see you again soon.